All right, so now we're going to look at tables and pagination. And when I say pagination, obviously I just mean the UI. We don't have the capability with Bootstrap to do actual working pagination. So with the tables, I just have a bunch of, they're all the same table, just they have first name, last name, email. And this first one, I'm going to go to the table tag and just add a class of table. Okay, so this is like the bare minimum of styling for a Bootstrap table. I'll save it, and you can see it changes it pretty drastically, and it makes it look pretty good. It adds a bunch of padding and gives it these borders, and it looks really nice. Now we can also inverse the table if we want, so we can make it dark. Now we used to have a class called table inverse, and that would do it, but now it's actually table-dark. So we want to do class, and you still want to add your regular table class, but also add table-dark and save, and now you can see it's basically inversed or dark, whatever you want to call it. Okay, table inverse I don't believe works anymore. You can try it. No, it doesn't. But in the old course, in the beta version, it was table inverse. So we can also do the inverse or the dark to just the T head area. So right here, we can actually give this a class of T head dash dark, and let's also give our table a class of table. And save, and now you can see just the heading or just the headers are inversed. We can also do a striped table, which has always been pretty popular in Bootstrap. So we'll say class equals table, and we want to do table dash striped and save. And what that does is every other row here will have this gray background. Okay, we can also do a bordered table. So for this one, I'm going to just say class equals table, and let's do table dash bordered and save, and that just kind of gives a border around each cell here. Okay, and let's see, we also have a borderless table that we can do. So for that, we'll say class equals table, and let's say table dash borderless and save, and now you can see there's no borders at all. So we have quite a few options with how you want to display your tables. We can also make rows hoverable. So if we go down here, let's add a class of table, and let's add table dash hover. And now if I hover over a row, you'll see that it'll get that gray background. We can also add contextual classes. So let's go to this one here. Let's add our class of table. And then let's go to the TR, the table row tag, this first one here, and let's add table dash success and save. And now you can, oops, we don't want to do that. That's the heading. I mean, you could do that if you want, but I want to put this on in the T body. All right, so that's green. We could also do like danger. That would be red. We could do, let's not do dark. Let's do warning and save, and now we get that yellow. Okay, so you can put these different contextual colors. So we also have small table if you don't want it to have like this much, I guess, padding or space. So for that, we can say table class table, and let's say table dash SM and save. And now you can see it's just a skinnier table. You'll fit more entries on the page or so on and so on. All right, we can also mix these. So if I wanted to do table hover as well, I could do that. If I wanted to do table dash striped, I could do that. So now it's striped and hoverable. So you can mix and match these. Now for responsive tables, it's really tough to create a responsive table. I really don't like the way that Bootstrap does it. They just basically add a scroll bar. It still kind of looks ugly on a mobile device, on a real small mobile device, but it does make it so that you can read it. So for that, we actually need a div around the table, and we need to give that div a class of table dash responsive. like that. And then this table here, we'll give a class of table and save. And now if I make this smaller, you'll see that once it gets to a certain point, we'll have the scroll bar, which I guess works, but it's not really like the best looking thing in the world. All right, so that's about it for the tables, guys. As you can see, there's quite a few ways to display your data in tables. Now let's look at the pagination UI. So pagination is basically just a nav with a UL and some list items and some links. Okay, we want a previous and a next. So the nav is going to, actually the nav doesn't need anything at all. The UL is where we want to put the class of pagination. And then for each list item, we want to put a class of page-item. So kind of like the navigation with nav item. Same with the link, we want a class of page-link. So I'll go ahead and copy this li with the class and just overwrite these ones. And we'll grab the link here, the A tag. And I can do a Control D to select all of these. Should have been doing that. And we can paste that in. So if I save that, you'll see we'll get this nice looking pagination. If we wanted to make one of these active, like let's say we were on page 2, then we could just add to the li the active class and save, and that will get highlighted. Okay, so pretty simple. If we wanted one disabled, like let's say page 1 was active, then previous would most likely be disabled. So we could add into the li a class of disabled and save, and now you'll see it's grayed out and it's not clickable. Okay, now we can also, if we wanted to center the pagination, we could do that really easily. I'll just grab this whole nav here and paste this in. So basically we just need to add one class. So in the UL, the page where we have pagination, we're going to add justify dash content dash center, just like we did with the navs earlier. And then we can do it to the right. So we can say justify content end and save, and that will align it to the right. Now we can also make a larger pagination if we want. So what I'll do is just paste this in again, and I'm just going to add the class of pagination -lg and save that, and you can see that it's now much bigger. We also have pagination small. So as you could probably guess, pagination SM, and that makes it smaller. And then if we wanted to use arrows instead of excuse me, instead of previous and next, we could do that. So I'll paste this in, and what I'm going to do is in the link here, instead of previous, let's put a span, and we're going to use a character code here of ampersand, and it's going to be LAQUO semicolon. And then right under it, we're going to put another span. And in this span, it's actually going to take a class of SR-only, and we're going to say previous. Okay, now it's not actually going to show, when you put this SR only, excuse me, it's not going to actually display whatever you put in here. It's going to be hidden. But this is going to translate as a, this is previous, so it's going to be a left pointing arrow. Okay, now if we want the right pointing for next, what I'll do is just copy these two spans, and we'll go and just get rid of this next and paste this in. And instead of LAQO, we want RAQO, which will give us a right facing arrow. And for this SR only class, we'll say next and save. And now you can see we're using arrows. Okay, so that is tables and pagination. In the next video, guys, we're going to be looking at cards.